It's actually been a pretty good day today. Exhausted, but it's been a pretty good day today. Let's see. I actually wound up getting off of work an hour early, so I only had to work 9 hours. I know I'm getting hay. Just give me a second. Only had to work 9 hours. Also, Chelsea took the kids out today, which this was actually the most exciting in my opinion because kids don't get an opportunity as often as most kids to go out and do kid things. And they had a chance to go out today to a children's science discovery place or whatever. And so they had an amazing time going over there, learning some things, playing with whatever, the people invented over there, just having a good time. And after that, they had to go right back. They were like two or three counties over. And they actually wound up having to drive all the way back to the house. And they had to take Zayla to gymnastics practice tonight.
Now on my end, I want to say lucky because I like my overtime, but I wound up not having to work 10 hours today. I only had to work 9. And when I got to the barn, I had full intentions of only checking the trail camera. Spent some of my lunch break making a bracket for me to hold the smartphone on my bow. That way I could hunt and y'all could come along with me and everything because I don't like stopping and everything. You've seen on the vlog where the deer ran into me. If I didn't have my phone up in front of my face and reflection of the phone itself there, I would have had an opportunity of putting some meat on the table early in the season. But anyways, past that, I make a bracket because Amazon or other places want to charge you like $20 to $40 for something to hold a smartphone on because apparently that's a good price. And no, I got a piece of thin metal, just basically like you would see your brackets. I just made my own out of it. It's a little bit heavier, but whatever. I know it's gonna last. I do have to do some adjustments on it, but I wanted to give it a test drive. So instead of just checking out the trail camera, and it's within season, I went ahead and took my bow with me anyway. So that way y'all can kind of see, I don't just walk into the woods to check the trail camera. I also, I sneak everywhere I go, whether it's in or out, after I make a kill, scouting, anything. I'm always sneaking around in the woods because that area could be a potential for me to go ahead and hunt. So I don't want to sit there and keep on bumping everything every time I turn around. And before I even make it into the woods, I'm already hearing noises out in the distance within the woods. So I cautiously approach the woods as quiet as I can. It took me from the edge of the woods to where my trail camera was at. It took me 45 minutes to go, I think, 50 yards. So once I finally accomplished getting the trail camera, getting to the trail camera, I opened up the trail camera, expecting to be like 50 pics. I mean, this thing's been out there for 5 days. And I put it in an area where supposedly I had a buck going through there. I didn't even look at the pictures. Only 6 pictures showed up on the trail camera. And I just went ahead and took the trail camera off. Well, in between me going from the edge of the woods to the trail camera, I came across a pretty decent sized buck track. I followed that buck track all the way to the almost point of my trail camera, and then it veered off. And it never even made it to the front part of the trail camera. So I'm assuming that the track that I had the trail camera on was an older track, or maybe even another buck that probably just comes into the area every so often, and I didn't catch him on the times that he was going through there. And on the way wrapping around and trying to get out, I crossed this buck's tracks again, actually more visibly. I got a little curious, so I went ahead and followed the buck tracks because I've seen some decent sized buck tracks on that property, gotten some on my trail camera, but I've never seen them this fresh. I've seen them, when I say I've seen them before on the property, I mean off in the distance, early morning in the field, or it'll be super early morning, they're way out deep, farther than my arrow can reach. But you can tell that it's a good sized buck. So I follow these tracks and I come up to an area where specifically I see a section of leaves that have been kicked around. And I realized that this could have been what I was hearing going into the woods. So I sat there for a little bit. Man, it wasn't even 2 seconds I went to kneel down. I almost kneeled down, and a big pile of buck crap. And I'm talking about the freshest buck crap I've ever come across in my entire life. There were still flies on it. So I sat there for about 20 minutes. I have my trail camera strapped around my chest. So I go ahead and I'm looking around. I'm like, this would be a good area to put a trail camera. Let's just do this one more time and see what you get. So I put up a trail camera that faces the exact same trail that buck was going down. He looked like he'd been there up and down it for a little bit. These tracks that I was seeing are just a little bit more fresh, well, like way fresh. I look up ahead of me and I realize my tree stand is 30 yards away from that buck's trail. And it's actually, the one side of it's going towards that stand. Now, understanding that if this is a mature buck, the reason why I didn't hear him blow off if I did bump him, he probably saw me or smelt me and then took off. Or I may have gotten super lucky, and while he was just browsing around and doing whatever bucks do, he just walked off, and I just so happened to walk up right up on his trail. And that's what I'm kind of hoping. I figured while I was there and I saw my tree stand, I had like an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes until sundown. I went ahead up in the tree stand and went ahead and hunted. About 8 feet in the tree when I realized I don't have my harness on. I don't have anything. I took my rangefinder, my knife, and my bow with me, you know, because the whole point was if I went and checked the trail camera and I might have had a doe come out in front of me, I was just going to go ahead and harvest the doe. So I'm in the tree. I'm only 8 feet up into the tree and everything, just to be on the safety part of it for not wearing a harness. And I'm sitting there, what felt like forever, of course. Y'all know that feeling, but it was only, I think, like 30 minutes. And a squirrel comes out in front of me. So I went ahead and attempted to try to go ahead to shoot the squirrel. That didn't sound cool. Here, let's try this. I thought to myself when the squirrel came up, how funny would it be to scare the crap out of this squirrel with my arrow? Let me see how close I could get this arrow to this squirrel before it just loses its shit. Now you see how when I released the arrow, how shaky the bracket was. That's what I was talking about. I got some adjustments to make. I'm gonna bend it and get it a little bit closer to the stabilizer, maybe throw some zip ties on there, that way it's not shaking around, because apparently when you have, you know, 70 something pounds of force coming up behind it so fast, it actually puts a lot of vibration through it. But no, I sat there for a little bit and I started hearing more footsteps. So I was looking like this way, and I look out in front of me and I see this fawn. So I'm following this fawn, and I finally get an opportunity where I can hit record to where where she or he can see me, and I get some footage of the fawn and everything. And I watched this fawn literally get about 20 yards behind me in the tree and just bed down right there. They just bedded down. So I was assuming that since she bedded down right there, maybe she wandered off and her mom was coming up behind her at some point. So I was like pinned in the area where she was coming in at. Sun came down. I got out without bumping anything, and you know, I find that as success. I didn't bring anything home, but I also didn't wind up scaring the crap out of anything, whether or going in or out, or at least going in. I hope I didn't. But I have a feeling, guys, this year on this private property, I've been hunting it for 6 years, and normally I could go in there and be like, yep, they're here, put the trail camera, okay, I got this amount, I can harvest this amount. I've moved this trail camera 4 or 5 times, and I've gotten nothing but, you know, squirrels, coyote taking a crap, a horse, you know, just something that doesn't give me an idea of how many deer are actually on this property. And I know there's at least 12. I see them in the morning. I see them in the afternoon. I'm just trying to figure out what time they're actually crossing in the area where I can actually be able to harvest them. And it seems like they are just getting elusive. Either my trail camera isn't turned in the proper direction or what. But every time I put it on the trail, I'm not getting anything but a single doe or 2 does. Oh, this property's been a little frustrating. I'm sure I'll figure it out. The early season's the most difficult for me, but it's one of those, you got to stay positive. You got to keep on doing it. I mean, most of us out there, we do this to feed our family, and it's what we got to do. I know if I keep my head up and I stay positive and I do exactly what I've learned to do to be successful while hunting, it will come. This always happens in the beginning of the season. It's just on the private land, I guess it's a little bit more frustrating because normally I get better results by now. I know the deer are there. I just need to find exactly where they're coming in and out of and exactly what time they're doing it. Working and everything, it makes it a little bit more difficult, but I know I'll do it. I know I can do it.